that instability and that inequality that has really left an impression on me. When I looked at conventional programs, I always felt like something was missing. And with PPE, you have this interdisciplinary mindset. You're open to other ideas. Questions of migration, moral responsibilities. Is the government responsible for that? Am I responsible for that? Inequality often plays a great role in the economy, but as well in the political field. PPE has challenged me to dive more deeper into my core values. What do I think is right? Bachelor's in Philosophy, Politics and Economics at VU Amsterdam.
Great. Welcome everybody to this webinar where you already just heard from a past student how it is to study PPE, in other words, Philosophy, Politics and Economics at the VU in Amsterdam. So we're going to hear about this program and all the details on how to apply and everything in the next hour or so. But before that, we go over to the speakers. I will briefly explain to you some interactive options. My name is Luc Mulling, and I'm the moderator of today. And you have several options to interact with us. First of all, you can say where you're from in the chat. So just maybe let us know where you're logging in from, just to see some of the variety of people joining today. If you have any questions, though, you can write those through the panel questions. That's where you can find it at the right bottom. So please do that there. Also, we have a poll. I already see some people answering that. So thank you to give your feedback through the polling. We will open up a couple of polls throughout the session just to get to know you a little bit better as well. Last but not least, we have a little fun button. So there is a button called React at the bottom. If you click on that, you can let us know a little bit of the feedback and interactivity as well, especially to make it also fun for the speakers, because they can see if you're paying attention and if you're basically interacting with them a little bit as well. Well, without further ado, you didn't join to hear from me, but of course from the speakers. And we will have some introductions take place. We will start off with the International Student Advisors, and we have Karin and Lineke joining. So thanks, to introduce yourself briefly.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Karin, and this is my colleague Lineke, and we are both the International Student Advisors for PPE. So that means we do the admissions and we handle your applications.
Hi everybody, we are Inara and Julius, and we're both second-year students now from PPE, and we're also both board members from the Study Association Calliope, but we'll get to the details on that a little bit later in the presentation.
And hello, my name is Philip Robichaud. I'm an associate professor of philosophy, associate professor of ethics, and one of the coordinators of the PPE program. And I'll be talking with you the details of the program itself here at the start of the webinar. So philosophy, politics, and economics. We are a interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary bachelor program at the VU. We're really proud of a recent accomplishment of our program, which you see there on the first slide. According to GoZagids, which translates as Choice Guide here in the Netherlands, we were rated as a top program for the coming year. And some of the reasons that were articulated for us winning the top program are things we're going to go into that are in a way special about our program, and we want to talk to you about those features of the PPE program. Now, PPE itself, as a discipline, we didn't invent it. It actually has like a long and storied history. It originated in Oxford in the 1920s, so it's now 100 years old as an educational sort of concept. And nowadays there are many PPE programs all over the world, as maybe you've already discovered. But why is this happening? Why is this this combination of disciplines, which you might think don't obviously go together if you were just to, ask someone to think about a multidisciplinary program, bachelor's program. But the reason is that these three disciplines actually allow you to think about, analyze, and develop solutions to many of the most important contemporary social problems that we're facing. These problems, and you can think of examples like climate change, artificial intelligence and automation, global conflicts, income inequality, all of these important problems that we're facing, migration. You can think about them, sure, from each individual perspective, each individual discipline. But if we really want to think about how to devise and analyze solutions to these problems, and to make the world a better place, it really helps to have all three disciplines. And so bringing those together in a way, you can think of it as giving you a unique and really suitable, excellent toolkit for both understanding and analyzing the questions, so you get a clear picture of what the problems are, what these issues are, and thinking about and evaluating different kinds of solutions. So that's a reason to study, that's a reason why PPE as an educational concept, so to say, has been really influential and popular. But there are many programs, as I said. So what is it about PPE at the VU Universiteit Amsterdam? Why study PPE here? Well, so I'm going to talk through just these 5 different features of the program that we're most proud of, and that we think make a strong case for joining us this fall or next fall. So first, as we've mentioned, it's this multidisciplinary curriculum. Multidisciplinary meaning it brings together the philosophy, politics, and economics. You take those courses in each of the 3 disciplines, and it's important to understand that these aren't. It's not like you're doing philosophy light or economics light. These are rigorous, versions of the different courses that you're taking. The ethics course that I teach to PPE students is actually, in a way, at a higher level than when I just teach philosophy students. So it's multidisciplinary in that respect. You get a really firm grounding in the 3 disciplines. But what we also have as part of our curriculum are these interdisciplinary courses. And what that means, these are all these educational jargon terms. What that means is that we don't ask you to just put together all these different ideas yourself from the different disciplines. We have courses called PPE and practice courses where they come together in the course, and you and your professor and your seminar leader actually bring your understanding of the 3 different disciplines together in thinking about different kinds of PPE and practice social problems that we're facing. Second, our program has its own college at the VU Amsterdam. It's the only program at the bachelor's program at the VU that has its own facilities, meaning we have on the 4th floor of the main building on campus, that's the PPE floor. That's the John Stuart Mill College. It's where you have all of your lectures, all of your seminars. There's a study area that only PPE students have access to, and that is actually a very coveted status that our PPE students have, that they can go in and study whenever they want at the John Stuart Mill College. And the coordinators like myself and the junior lecturers also have their offices there. So it really contributes to a kind of community feel. Another thing that's special about our program is that we've arranged in the 3rd year a study abroad and an internship opportunity, which I'll discuss in more detail later. What this does is it gives you a kind of, allows you to get a broader experience than just studying at the VU, and we really put a lot of effort into developing that 5th semester in your 3rd year to be something really special. Fourth, PPE at the VU is a very inclusive and international program, both in terms of students and staff. When you join PPE, it's not just like starting a study, but joining a community. And I think I really believe that you really just feel that at the John Stuart Mill College. And it's something that I think you should really, if you get the opportunity to join us on a taster day to get a feel for that community environment, it's really palpable and great. Finally, fifth, we have arranged several different kind of opportunities for further studies after PPE at the master's level here at the VU, and I'll go into those in some detail later. So these are just 5 of the kind of core main attractive features of PPE at the VU, and some of these things we'll be discussing in just some detail here in a second. This is just some more basic information about the program. It's an English taught program. It's small scale and intensive, which means that you have more contact hours, more hours in the classrooms with your professors and with the other students during the week than in other programs. It's very international. We do have an honors program as well if you're really looking for an extra challenge. In terms of number of students, we're hovering around 80 students per year, something like that. And when you graduate, you get a Bachelor of Science. So now what I wanted to do is take a few minutes just to kind of like talk you through. This is all on our website, by the way. I highly recommend going to our website and you can really get into the details and see the course descriptions, of the curriculum and read those for yourself. But what I wanted to do is just kind of give you a very general overview of the 3 different years, what the curriculum looks like. Here in the first year, this is really your foundational year. Every student, every person coming in, everyone takes these classes. And what you find is that it's split up into 2 different semesters. And in semester 1, there on the left, you see a philosophy course, a politics course, and an economics course. And then you see 2 different courses. One of them is called Methods of PPE 1. These methods courses form a kind of like analytical background of the PPE curriculum. They provide you with very general tools of logic, decision theory, math that are going to be drawn upon in other courses in the curriculum. And then you see there at the bottom the first PPE in practice course. That's one of those interdisciplinary courses in which your understanding that you've gotten from those other courses that you just took are going to be brought into contact with your thinking about, in this case, a course on well-being, politics, and markets. Second semester has a very similar feel. You take one course in each of the 3 disciplines. You take another methods course. This one is in statistics. And then you can see there a PPE in practice course, PPE in practice 2. Moving on to your second year, things get a little bit different. You get to personalize your education, your experience in a way by choosing actually 2 of the different disciplines to focus on, right? So maybe you'll choose, if you're really into philosophy and economics, you'll choose what's depicted here as track 1 and 2. Just so in that second year, the courses that you take will be in those 2 disciplines. And you can make any combination, really. It's up to you. So you do that in all of year 2. But you can see also there as well, at the end of semester 1, at the end of semester 2, you take those interdisciplinary PPE in practice courses, which is actually really nice because it means that you don't really, although you are dropping a track here in the second year, in the PPE in practice courses, even the track that you dropped, those issues are going to come back there. Those are genuinely interdisciplinary courses. And so in that way, it's not like you're losing touch with PPE, as a general kind of a bachelor's program, even if you're focusing on 2 as your main. Year 3, this is where things get really interesting. So this is the semester 1 year of year 3. This is where most of our students go on study abroad. And I'll discuss the study abroad options in just a second. A number of students also choose to follow an internship. Or there's also the option, although not many take it, of doing a minor at the VU as well. But the overwhelming majority of students do study abroad or internship during that first semester. This is a semester where we kind of let you out into the world and we're waiting for your return. And indeed, you come back for the final semester, which is there on the right, semester 2, and you take another policy or methods course. You do the thesis and thesis tutorial, and then there at the end, there's a kind of capstone final PPE and practice course. That's those interdisciplinary courses. Okay, so that's the 3 years of curriculum from a very high and abstract level. Please do go into our website and read up on those if you want to get some more granular details about the curriculum. What I did want to do is zoom in on a couple of things. First, just to give you this is just the PPE and practice courses that I've been mentioning. These are the different topics that you're going to be focusing on in them. So climate change, artificial intelligence, health, quality of life. And in all of these, you actually get some really nice, in a way, practical skills in policy analysis and writing a policy brief. And what you see there on the right of the slide are examples of policy briefs that students following these courses all write. These are really, impressively high quality policy analysis and policy briefs where a particular solution to important social issues is developed and defended, drawing from all 3 disciplines. It's really great to see those. Just a bit about the study abroad options. As you can see, there are many in almost all continents. We still need to get South America in there. We're working on that. But you have a wealth of choices. Now, we work with these different universities, and in some cases it's with their PPE programs that they're running. In other cases, it's with the philosophy program or with the politics program. And we have a slate of courses that you can take if you do study abroad there. As I said, the other option that's available to you in that 3rd year is the internship. Our students have done some really cool, impressive internships. You can see some examples of these are actual places that our students have gone off to do internships. And these are our students returning from the internships come back with very, very positive experiences. They've been able to develop kind of as a professional, but still at an institution like the Ministry of Health or United Nations Watch, where there's a link to PPE, and they kind of get the experience of seeing how their PPE education is relevant to actual professional work. I want to mention also that there are 2 different kinds of teaching formats in our curriculum. So one is the sort of standard lecture, but we also, and this is kind of unique to our program, we also follow seminars with what we call junior docents, JUDOs. There are junior lecturers who are actually PhD students doing a kind of PPE PhD. They're really focusing on maybe in one disciplines, but in a kind of bringing in other disciplines as well in their own research. And they teach in our smaller work group or seminars. This is just like a picture of how these smaller seminars work, which are led by our JUDOs. So and there's a nice rhythm in every course. You have every week you'll have a lecture and then a seminar and a lecture and a seminar. So you always have about half of your contact hours are in small group settings, seminar settings, where you can really get that kind of interactive educational experience and think and work through the lecture material. So I want to now turn things over to our students to get the student perspective and have them tell you what life is really like here at the John Stuart Mill College.
Yeah. Hey again. Thank you, Phil. A bit more. I'm Julius. I'm 19. I am from Germany. And a small note, I'm doing internal honors, which Phil mentioned earlier, and then Noah's doing external. So if you have questions about that, please feel very free to put them in the chat. All right. Here in the background of the slide, you can see our 4th floor study area, which is right there. You can't see, obviously, but it's super useful, especially in the study week, if you have to work, if you can't find a spot. It's always super busy, so yeah, Phil mentioned this already. Let's move on to a regular week of PPE. Phil touched upon this, but here you can see, for example, I think, yeah, this is P1, year 1. And you can see basically on Monday, you'd have 2 lectures, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on what time slots, but you're going to have the 2 corresponding seminars. So I know PPE might seem super scary, but if you look at this, I think it looks super manageable. On Wednesday, for example, we are from Calliope, which Nora will tell you more about later. But Wednesday, Friday, we have extracurriculars, more things that are not only about studying, which is a good relaxation compared to the academic stuff. Now let's look into this, which is actually really interesting. On the bottom right, for example, we went to Brussels. On the top right, we talked about East Turkestan and the Uyghur situation. And this event was actually organized by a student of ours, a friend of ours. And I think this just goes to show that, yeah, some of these events are super big and organized by the university, but all of you can also have your impact in this, which I think is super unique compared to any other program. And yeah, in general, we have these almost, we have one slot for these every week, so you're definitely not going to get bored. And yeah, I think I'll hand it on to Enora.
Yes, so my name is Enora. I'm also on the Calliope board, but I'll talk more about that in a second. And I am also from Germany and 21 years old now. And just to talk a little bit about like PPE student life, just outside of studies, as has already been mentioned numerous times now, we do have the 4th floor where all PPE classes take place. So you really spend a lot of time around the people that you study with, but also your teachers and teaching assistants, which is just very nice because you genuinely do get to know people, and there's quite just a tight-knit community, especially because of the small-scale nature of the program. So you really know the names of the people you're studying with, and you know the people, which is, I think, very nice, especially if you're coming from abroad. It's just lovely to have a bit of a community here that can help you figure out how to navigate PPE, but also just student life in general. And just a very quick word about the study workload, because there are usually quite a lot of questions on that. It is an intensive program, of course, so you do have to commit some time to studying, but it is genuinely manageable. So as long as you know how to like organize yourself a little bit and coordinate your time, it is absolutely doable and not too overwhelming. I think you'll get used to it quite quickly. And then a quick word on Calliope, which we've mentioned before. So Julius and I are both on the board of the Study Association of PPE, which is Calliope. And you can see our board on the top left right there with our president and our external and internal officer. And Calliope is just kind of responsible for organizing all kinds of events for students. Some of them are study related, but some of them are completely independent from that. So we also organize parties and trips. You can see some pictures right here from when we went to a Christmas market last year in Maastricht, which was very nice. You can see pictures from the gala, which is always kind of a highlight of the year, where we rent out a location. There's usually an open bar. It's just a very nice event to spend time with everybody who you're studying with. Yeah, and then we also organize tutoring if you need some extra help with studying or figuring out certain topics, and other academic events such as a book club or debates. And it's just generally there for creating some nice community here at PPE, just between students, to get to know everybody who you're spending time with here. And then finally, of course, the city is, I'm sure, a big factor for everybody as well. I'm sure I don't need to tell you too much about Amsterdam, the facts about the city, but I can say that we both moved here from Germany, so we were new to the city, and I think you can really safely say it's a very, very nice location. The university is located right in South. By metro, you're in the center super quickly. You get to know the city quite a bit. And especially during intro week and some events that are organized by Calliope or by the college, you also get to explore the city outside of the university a little bit, which is super nice as well. And then I think I will pass over to Life.
Yeah, so thanks. I want to say a brief word about life after PPE as well. Now, compared to other programs, maybe I can imagine that someone thinking about this kind of interdisciplinary program might not be clear what the job prospects are compared to something like medicine. If you study that, you become a doctor, or if you study law, you become a lawyer. But what do you do when you study PPE? And so I wanted to discuss some of that. This is what you see depicted here are a few of our recent graduates. What the general trend, so this is just some data from graduates from a couple years back. Most students follow a master's program after the PPE program, either here in the Netherlands, and that's about half, or abroad. And some other students, go straight into work, or they switch studies into a bachelor, just a small number. Some take a gap year. But that just gives you the standard thing to do is to go on and do a master's. Now here at the VU, a nice thing is that the PPE program is ensured that our graduates automatically qualify for master's programs in the 3 disciplines here at the VU. But there are other programs as well that our students have gone on to study in, where like you have to do something extra, like maybe you have to have a certain GPA or a certain kind of motivation letter. And examples of those are like a research master in philosophy, law and politics of international security, even different Dutch options for the Dutch students here. So these are also available master's programs here at the VU that are available to our students have gone on to study in. This is a list that we've compiled over the years of master's programs that our students have followed. And what you see is actually, well, I think two things. One, there also are increasingly many sort of interdisciplinary master's programs, right? So the standard kind of idea behind a master's is that you really get deep, and focus on one thing. And some of our students do that indeed, though if they go in and just do an economics master or just do a philosophy master. But there are also, as you can see here, a number of programs that our students have gone on to study in that really retain that kind of interdisciplinary feeling to them. But our students have also been very successful at getting into really top impressive programs, master's programs in the Netherlands and on the European continent in the UK. So our students do really well in securing spots at such master's programs. And as far as careers, so what kind of career? Now, there's a sort of unsatisfying answer to what sort of career can you get with PPE. And the unsatisfying one is to go back to this slide and say, well, look, if you go and get an economics master, then you have as a career option any career that's open to someone with a master's in economics. So the nice thing about PPE is that you can start with this broad interdisciplinary bachelor's program that's still very rigorous and allows you to focus on a program that where career options will open up to you depending on whether you go for politics, economics, philosophy, or one of these interdisciplinary programs. But what we have seen, and this is just grouping again some actual positions that our graduates have acquired. A number of them work in consultancy and finance, different well-known consultancy firms. But another popular career is working in government and policymaking at all different levels and different countries, international level. NGOs are another popular destination for our graduates, working at UN, Refugee Agency, UN Watch, and also academia. We actually have now our first case of a PPE graduates who went and got a master's and is back as a junior lecturer teaching, and maybe we'll be teaching you current PPE students. So that's another option as well. So I want to now turn things over to questions that you may have about admissions and applications and housing.
Yes, thank you very much, Phil. Again, my name is Karin, and this is my colleague Lineke, and we are the international student advisors at the international office at VU University. And yeah, we're gonna tell something more about the admission requirements and the application procedure. So a bit more the practical side. So as mentioned already by Phil before, PPE is a small scale and intensive program which means that we also have a selective program. That means, yeah, to qualify for admission, you will need to meet either the entry requirements as well as the specific selection criteria. And for the entry requirements, yeah, you need to have an international diploma that is equivalent to the Dutch pre-university diploma. In the Netherlands, we call that the VWO diploma. To see if your diploma is equivalent to that, we also have a list on our website with quite some example diplomas that show whether they are equivalent or for that. It could be that your diploma is not mentioned on this website, but we try to put as much as possible. Then the second part, which is specifically for PPE, is that we also check if your GPE is sufficient. You need to have a GPE that is equivalent to a grade 7, again, in the Dutch grading system. The Dutch grading system is from 1 till 10. Besides that, we also ask you for a proof of sufficient English language level. And on our website, again, we have a list with possible exemptions for this. For example, the IB diploma, with that you're exempted from this. And sorry, I saw the message in it. If your diploma is not mentioned on this exemption list, that means you still need to do an English language test. And on the slide, you can see some of the test options, for example, IELTS, TOEFL, and the minimum requirements for these tests. And again, you can find more information about that also on our website, because we don't want to mention them all here. Then the last one is the proof of sufficiency, proficiency in mathematics. I've listed here 2 examples in the slide that are equivalent to the level that we're asking. We're asking equivalent to the Dutch pre-university mathematics A or B. And also this you can find on our webpage, PPE diploma list. Then those were the entry requirements. The entry requirements are checked by me and my colleague Lineke. Then we go to the selection criteria. The selection criteria are checked by the admission board. First of all, they look at your grade point average, your GPA. And if you have not yet obtained your diploma, we check your GPA by checking the last 2 years on your transcript of records. And besides the grade point average, we also look at your, the admission board looks at your motivation statement and the commitment to contribute to the college, international students and campus life, and your international orientation. So if you're interested in applying for PPE, we will ask you to fill out a VU application form. That is kind of a template that you can find on our website. And in this template, you can fill in all of your information. You can fill in your motivation. You can upload a transcript of records. And all of this will be used by the admission boards to evaluate your documents and decide on your selection to the program. Then we go to the next. To get back to the entry requirements and the selection requirements, you can read it all on the webpage as well. And in the chat, you can also see some of the links. Then I would also like to explain a little bit more about how to apply, because once you checked your admission requirements and you think you're eligible for admission, the next step is to apply for the program. You can apply for the program via StudyLink. StudyLink is a Dutch website where you can select your program. And after you applied via StudyLink, you will also get your login details for your VU dashboard, which brings us to step 2. That is to complete your application in your personal VU dashboard. You can find here, you can fill in some information here, and you can also upload your VU application form, so the template which I talked about. Then we go to step 3. Step 3 is you have to pay your application fee. This is only for diplomas that are obtained outside of the Netherlands. And after we go to step 4, which is to wait for your decision on admission. So before the early bird deadline, or until the early bird deadline, we will send you within 4 weeks your admission on decision after you have fully completed your application. So you complete your application as mentioned in step 2 via your VU dashboard. If you have done so, you will receive an email as well that you have completed it. And from then on, it takes 4 weeks until the early bird. And after that, it takes about 6 weeks to send you the information. In your decision on admission letter, you will also find more information about how you can complete your actual enrollment. This letter, for example, will tell you about the required GPA that you need to obtain in your final diploma, where and how you can send your certified documents. It says more about the payment of the tuition fee and also about the international office services. Yeah, this might have been going a bit fast, but as you can see, I also shared a link on this page. If you go to how to apply for a bachelor's program and you scroll down to PPE, you will also see the steps on this. And here we have a scan code. If you scan this code with your camera, you will also go to the most important links that we talked about the entry requirements, the English language requirements, and on how to apply. And we can also go back later to this slide. Then here I would like to mention about the deadlines. So the early bird deadline is next month, so the 14th of February, actually already in 2 weeks. Then the non-EU deadline is the 1st of April. So for those who have citizenship outside of the European Union, the deadline of April, 1st of April counts. And for the students with citizenship from the EU, we have a deadline of 1st of May. This deadline is a bit later because for non-EU, you also need to apply for a visa. Here you can also see the tuition fees for 2024 and 2025. And these are the tuition fees for 1 academic year. Then we go to the next slide. You probably have all heard on the news as well that in the Netherlands we have at the moment an extremely tense housing market, which means that for students, both Dutch but also the international students, it is quite difficult to find housing. Our international office can help you with arranging housing, but please be aware that the housing arranged by the VU is based on a first paid, first served. That means the sooner you apply for housing, the better your chances are of getting a room. Please also note that the accommodation services from the VU are only for students with a non-Dutch nationality that live outside of the Netherlands from the moment of applying. Yeah, the way it works is as follows. After you have received your decision on admission, you will be asked to confirm your participation in your VU dashboard. And after you have confirmed your participation in your dashboard, you can apply for international office services. This includes not only student housing, but also visa. To apply for the accommodation services, there is a housing fee, or also said an administration fee of around 500 euros. And after you applied, the VU will help you with the VU student housing. The prices vary, somewhere between 375 until 1,000 rental prices. And I also want to recommend you to For more information, also check carefully the website about VU.nl/accommodation, and also to prepare on time and read your information about this on time. Yeah, there are different location housing providers. The biggest one is in Uilenstede, which is about, I think, 1 kilometer from the VU campus. Here you can also find our sports center. Yeah, quite some students stay in this location as well. And I think also something important to mention is that the accommodation services is only for first-year students. So even if you do a 3 years degree, that means the accommodation services only help you with housing for the first year that you're studying here. And I think that is it. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that was quite complete. Maybe something else about housing. It is recommended to check the housing webinar about the housing situation in the Netherlands that we have online at our VU website, the website that Karin just mentioned, to inform yourself better and well ahead of time. And yeah, it gives a lot of tips and useful insights. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it as well.
Yes. And if you have any questions related to admissions, about the requirements, about the selection criteria, you can always send us an email to admissionsppe@vu.nl. And for yeah, the information, also check our website, because quite a lot is available, and we can usually not always answer very individual cases. So yeah, check our website, and in case there are questions, reach out to us, because we're happy to help with that.
Okay, great. Well, we're going now to the Q&A part. That's where you come in, the audience. Thanks for submitting your questions, which some have already done, I can see. So just for everyone, and also people joining later, you can write your questions through the tab called Questions on the right bottom, and that's where we'll answer them. Also, for people that watch the recording, I just want to emphasize that you can still write your questions as well. So you can do that, and we will send them through to the staff of VU Amsterdam, and they can, of course, not answer them live, but they can come back to you probably by email. And also, you can still participate in the poll. So we have opened a couple of poll questions. So do, by all means, give us your feedback as well. Perfect. So let's go through some of these questions. First of all, Alisa asked, can I transfer into the second year from an Italian university? But sorry, with the English taught course. So that's important to add.
Oh, sorry, Phil. If you,
I was just going to say, I think so. Technically, there's an option of getting exemptions on particular courses. Such exemptions have to be granted by the examination board, examination committee. So that to be well motivated. I mean, there really has to be an extremely close link between the learning objectives, of the course that you want to substitute and the course that you've taken. It has to be at the same level, same number of credits. So that's technically an option, but I think in practice, it's not. It's certainly not. It's not a common thing. It is technically an option.
Yeah.
More likely to be for 1 or 2 courses, but I think it's unlikely that the exact same one-to-one mapping of the first year courses such that you can get out of the first year.
Yeah, and to add to that, you will always need to apply as a first year student. And to get exempted from certain courses, you can also check the study guide, which you can also find on the website, and compare the study guide of our study to where you have been studying before. But yeah, keep in mind you always have to apply as a first year's student.
Yes, and to add to that as well, so only after your conditional admission, you will be able to start the process to apply for exemptions. So that's good to know, to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Jose Andre, I think it is. Is it possible to apply for a master program afterwards? I think it was briefly mentioned. Phil?
Yeah, sure. Yes, it certainly is. I mean, yeah, I mentioned some of the different master's programs that our students have gone on to. We don't have, so one thing we don't have is a sort of like PPE masters at the VU, like at the John Stuart Mill College. And the reason for that is just because, you know, the bachelor level is the kind of broader interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary degree. And then at the, you know, we have, as I said, worked with the different faculties here at the VU to accept our students in the, for example, economics master's program or the politics master's program. So those are there for here at the VU for you to pursue, certainly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I think the next question is also answered, but Jose Andre asked about what do I need to be accepted, like documents. I think there was a slide on that.
Yes, I can. Let's go through it. Yeah, so what you need to get accepted, I would also recommend to check these entry requirements. And on our website, you have a link or a page that says how to apply for a bachelor's program. And there you can read the steps one by one, what you need to hand in. And I think the most important is your VU bachelor application form PPE. This is a template, and in this template, it asks you several information, for example, your motivation. It asks you to upload your transcript. It asks you for a diploma statement with the information what courses you're planning to take by the end of the year. For example, if you have final exams in your year. I think if you follow that template, it will guide you through the application process. And for the entry requirements, I would recommend to check the links that were shared in the QR code.
Yes, and to to have a complete application, to have it considered 100% complete, and for us to start with the assessment of it, you will need to have this application form, the specific one for PPE, and you will need to have paid the 100 euros application fee. If those two things are in order, you will receive a confirmation email from an international support assistant. And from that moment on, you will know that it will take us 4 or 6 weeks to send you the decision on admission.
Okay, great, thank you. Just to add as well that, yeah, a lot of the links are in the chat. So do you find links to how to apply, but also some of the language requirements, the admission requirements, and diplomas. So those links are all in the chat as well, just to make sure. Next question we received is from Fabrice. Can I start next September?
Next September as in coming September? Or the year after? If it's about next September, the application deadline for non-EU is 1st of April, and the application deadline for EU citizens is 1 May. So if you apply before that time, you will be able to start in 1 September if you meet the criteria and if you are selected by our admission board.
Yeah, so it's good to know that we only have September intakes. So yeah, you can only apply for the September 2024 intake this year, and then from October 2024, you can start applying for the September 2025 intake, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see it's in the chat that adding yes this year, so only September indeed. Good. Okay, next question from Mary. So the housing fee grant is only for the first year, is that correct?
The housing fee, so the administration fee is only for international office to help you, to help you with the VU housing. What I meant to say is that the VU housing is only provided for the first year, if that makes it more clear.
Yeah. So for example, you start in September, then you will have the housing from September for 1 year, and then the next September you will have to find housing on your own. Yeah, and then of course you have already settled in during a whole year, connected with a lot of people, hopefully also in Amsterdam. So yeah, that hopefully will make it easier to also find a new place to live in the second year.
Would it be possible to hear from the student perspective on how things kind of tend to go with finding a place?
Sure, yeah. I mean, my experience is very limited because I'm a big procrastinator. So I did it on like 2-3 weeks before I came here, and I applied. And also regarding the grant, it might be interesting. The VU was not able to help me anymore, very surprisingly, 2 weeks before the semester started. So I got my grant back even, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like very sure that I got the money back. So you just pay it. If they get you housing, it's only for the first year, but if they don't, you even get the money back. So don't worry about that. I think in general, it's just, we can't stress housing enough. It is so, it is so difficult for everyone, especially with the first years now. We experience it, we hear from them. So just do it super early. Now, like best case, start looking now. I'm not joking. It will be super difficult even if you start looking now. So I think that's.
Yeah, I would add, I applied for university housing and I was actually able to get an apartment for my first year. And then actually through like a whole process last year, I was able to get university housing for my second year as well. And I would really recommend applying for student housing also like right after this webinar. That's what I did 2 years ago. Like I left this tab and then I opened the other one to apply for university housing, because if you manage to get it, it is really like a very affordable. It's all in Amsterdam, so it's an okay connection to university. Like if you're able to get university housing, it's definitely a big help.
Yeah, and maybe to add, it's in Amsterdam, just reminded me. So just to deter you from procrastinating like I did, I now live in Haarlem, a city outside of Amsterdam, and I travel every day. So just keep that in mind when you think about not doing it right now, your housing.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And I hope that answered that and was a good insight from the students as well. Thank you for that. Carmen had a question. Did I understand there's an internship included as well?
Yes, certainly, as an option. So most of our students do a study abroad during that internship period. So they don't do an internship; they do study abroad. But every year there are 15 to 20 students or so who follow who choose the internship option, and there are some requirements that we have on sort of on there. I mean, I can't just ending at a bike repair shop or something. It has to be sort of linked to PPE in some way. Just to give you some examples of internships that I've been the academic supervisor for. I mean, one time at a big bank in the kind of philanthropy section of a big bank where customers were interested in investing ethically, and this is really interesting internship experience that brought together economics and a bit of ethics, a bit of philosophy. Also, many of our interns work for NGOs to work with that are working on working on climate change or working at the UN or something. So that's another popular option for our internships. It's something that we don't have. Maybe this is what the question. We don't have just like a slate of them that we can just give you. You seek it out on your own and find it, and in coordination, of course, with our internship supervisor. So we can give you some advice and tips, and it's really something for you, a way for you to really personalize your education with us by finding a nice internship location and pursuing it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Phil. So a question coming into the chat, just to make sure that's answered as well. Ahmed is asking, what is the deadline to apply for a master's degree? So this webinar is about the bachelor's, but what is the
of course we can only give out information about the bachelor's admissions, but it is all mentioned on the website. If you Google master application deadline VU Amsterdam, it will pop right up. It is very comparable to the bachelor's admissions, but I just do not want to give out any false information, so I recommend to check the website.
Just to make sure, because indeed this webinar is about the Bachelor of PPE. So, but by all means, Annette, do check it out. I'm sure the VU Amsterdam is happy to receive you for their masters as well. Okay, and let's see if there are any further questions. Mary had two questions. First of all, how long does the semester last? First of all.
Yes, well, each semester is kind of, we have this period system. So actually kind of each semester is broken up into 3 periods, 2 kind of longer periods where you take 2 courses, and each of those are 6 weeks of coursework, and then you have a study week, and then you have an exam week. And so that's kind of 8 weeks, an 8-week block. You have an 8-week block, 8-week block, and then the PPE and practice courses are in these really short 4-week blocks. So a whole semester is technically, I guess, 20 weeks. And there are 2 semesters.
Okay. Next question is, can you repeat the cost of tuition fees, please?
I think we can go back to the slides. The tuition fees are mentioned here. So you see the European and Dutch and the non-European. This is for 1 academic year. And for more information, you can also look at vu.nl/tuition fee for more information.
Okay. Hope that answered. Otherwise, let us know. And those were the questions we've received so far. I don't know if there are any other questions. Otherwise, we slowly will round off this session for today. And yeah, we had one excellent slides as well, just to make sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, I think this is the last one. So just by way of closing, I wanted to point you to a couple of important things. So if you see the QR code there on the left, this is an opportunity for you to sign up for our Bachelor Day and Taster Day. And you can also follow our socials. You see there the Instagram. We also have a LinkedIn page for the John Stuart Mill College where you can follow the different things going on. So those are really fun to follow. I wanted to just say, by way of closing, we really appreciate your giving us a bit of your day to learn about our program. It's a program that I think I can speak for everyone involved in it, that we're very proud of it. We love teaching in it, and students enjoy being a part of it. It's a real community feel, and we know that there are a lot of educational choices. Is a tough one. There are many great options out there. We hope that you found something interesting in the presentation here, and who knows, maybe we'll see some of you lecture 1 of ethics that I'll be teaching at the beginning of September. Maybe I'll see you there.
Okay, and last we have a last poll that we open, but thanks everyone for having joined, and we hope you give us a good grade there and that you did enjoy the webinar. And from my end, I'd like to thank everyone for having joined us as well, and Lineke and Julius Inora. Thanks
Yes.
for having made your time available. And
Thank you
bye-bye.
very much.
Yeah,
And,
thank you too.
We're happy to receive your application and questions, of course.
Thank you. Bye-bye.